Interim manager hunt narrowed down to 2 candidates. One of them wants it full-time, which will concern Manchester United fans, I am sure. Interesting transfer updates on everything being shut down from Manchester United's side. That ENRIQUE link as well as the new manager. And who else is in the fray for the permanent job at the football club. Lots and lots of updates to get through this morning, everybody. Welcome along to Forever United TV. I'm Adam. Get into the live comment section. Talk to me about what is going on right now, what you've read, what you've listened to, and where you are as a Manchester United fan right now. In there, get your debates going, get your conversations rolling, everybody. This is going to be a big few days for us Manchester United fans, and we've got you covered here on FUTV. The opinions are not going to be aligned, let's just say that. So we've all got our own thoughts on this and we've all got our own concerns. We've got an interesting piece from Miguel Delaney as well, journalist, talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos's process in previously trying to appoint a manager, which will again concern Manchester United fans. Not want to scaremonger or anything like that, and I know where we're at right now. It's a delicate phase in Manchester United's future coming up, let's just say, but we need to know all the facts and we need to know what's going on behind the scenes, and there are lots of reports. First of all, let's get into where we're at with Ollie and Michael Carrick. Yes, last night we covered it well in the middle of Darren Fletcher's first press conference, in which he has got into detail again on more stuff, talking about who he's spoken to, what he sees the future as, the expectations, the pressure, the criticism. We'll get into a few more of them Darren Fletcher quotes later on in the show. But while the first press conference was going on last night, the news was circulating. Romano, David Ornstein, everyone who's anyone. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer back at the wheel at Manchester United. Now, the front runner, I think it's safe to say, after his claims yesterday that he would work for Manchester United for nothing. Well, we kind of brought that comment down a little bit and said, well, he has left the negotiation side of his contract to Manchester United. He's not bothered. He'll work under any terms at Manchester United. That apparently has stirred up a little bit of concern in some sections of the Man United fan base. And obviously, it's going back to what was in a lot of people's eyes a failure before. Is that going to help United this season? The candidates for the interim job are very, very short, like in terms of the numbers. And the two that are looking likely right now are probably obvious to most people, because who else would take a job for just 6 months under the conditions that Ineos have got them in? You're not going to get any big names right now, and no one else is available apparently. I will talk about all of the permanent candidates as well in this show, but right now where we're at, going forward for the rest of this season, who's going to be in that dugout before the Manchester City game? And that's a week on Saturday. So that's the one, that's the timeline that we're looking at here. We know that Fletcher's going to be in charge for the game tonight and obviously Sunday's FA Cup tie with Brighton. So where we're at right now, and this is a latest update from Laurie Whitwell when it comes to the interim manager job. Now, last night we knew that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was spoken to and Michael Carrick was spoken to. Both have been sounded out. Both have been open to the idea of taking the interim manager's job, willing to do the job, and they are both in Carrington today. That's from Laurie Whitwell, who says Manchester United are set to meet Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick before making a final decision on a caretaker manager appointment. Carrick as number two has been mentioned, but talks with him also about the main role. So that there again is the old guard, isn't it? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick is under consideration, not one or the other as well. Like, I'm sure both would, at this stage of their careers, like to be top dog. Now, neither are in work at the moment, and I honestly have not got a clue where their heads are at. You would have thought that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been the one that's pushing for the main job, because he was in that hot seat before. He's got more experience than Michael Carrick in management, in first-team management. I know Carrick spent a good spell at Middlesbrough as well, interim at Manchester United. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the more experienced one. So you would have thought he would have tried to push for the number one spot more than Michael Carrick, I would say. It doesn't take anything away from Michael Carrick, by the way, and his shout for it. I mean, he did have that 4-game, yes, only 4-game, that stint in charge of Manchester United before, and then gathered his experience at Middlesbrough. Wasn't too bad a time at Middlesbrough, but never really got that team over the line like he was expected to. it doesn't really matter about the credentials, it seems, right now. Manchester United are just looking to put a body on that seat. And that, I think, is where there's a few Man United fans are concerned. They're not convinced by either one of these, and quite rightly so. There's no one out there right now, I don't think, Manchester United could go and get for a 6-month role. And I'm only saying that because it's made very, very clear from all of these reports that Manchester United have a clear and obvious plan to bring in a number one in the summer, and that opens up to several different top-class managers. That coming up in a minute. But also, in terms of the reports as well, and this has been brought up by Ben Jacobs late last night, is that, and I think Samuel Luckhurst as well, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is interested in the 6-month deal, will do whatever it takes to get in and right the wrongs of his previous tenure. Everything we spoke about last night. But on top of that, news after the shows last night came out that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would, of course, like the job permanently if all goes well in the next 6 months. Yes, you did just get a shiver down your spine at that point, because that mistake cannot happen again. I love you, Ole. And if you do come in, I hope it is absolutely brilliant. I hope it's fantastic. And I hope it all goes like your last interim period at Manchester United, not the permanent period at Manchester United. And that's where every single Man United fan is going to judge Ineos. It's what happens after the 6 months. This appointment now is important because the season's in the balance. So who gets the best out of 20 plus games that are left in this season if you include the FA Cup? I think we can max out around about, I think it's around about 25 games or something like that left if you include the FA Cup, if we go all the way. Something around there anyway. But you need a manager in just to get the maximum out of this team for 5 months and 25 games. That's it. And that should be the vision for Ineos right now. Nothing else whatsoever. That should be everything right there. And if they get any ideas of swaying away from that plan, going to employ... Look, if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets Champions League football or Michael Carrick gets Champions League football this season, you know there is going to be a clamour to keep that man in the hot seat permanently. Forget it. Just forget it. No. It's a simple no. The job is 6 months, 5 months. Get the job done this season and then say goodbye. If they come away from that, you might as well give up. Honestly, I'm not putting any of the people down here. I'm not saying that Ole or Carrick cannot do it, but we cannot go down that road again. We just can't. It needs to be somebody else that comes in the summer and takes over the role. That is just my pure opinion on that at the moment. Now, Carrick and Solskjaer obviously heading in to Carrington today. Do I have a problem with them both working together? Like what Laurie Whitwell says there? Not really. No, at this point. I'm just trying to think of another interim manager that will come in, and I can't think of any. That's honestly where I'm at right now. Unless you can go out and get your permanent manager now, it just doesn't seem to be the plan. So this isn't my idea. This isn't what I want as a Manchester United fan. I'm just going along here with the news and what is obviously going to happen now. And I cannot see past either of these two. I don't want McKenna. I don't think that works. David Ornstein has talked that up, and he has looked at that type of interim manager. He said that one intrigues Manchester United, the new up-and-coming manager at the football club. But the one thing that has been said and is needed in the interim and the permanent right now from Ornstein and the big push from Manchester United. And let's not forget, it was Ornstein who found out about everything else first. So I'm going to go with his say on this one, in that Manchester United want Premier League experience. Now that takes us on to a different conversation altogether about the permanent manager. And I'm going to come to that in a moment. But I want to get your thoughts on the manager right now, the interim manager at Manchester United, people. Talk to me in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. I've got a poll up right now. Which way would you go? There are already well over 200 votes on this. Who would you choose between these two? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or Michael Carrick? I need to make this very, very clear. This is specifically for the interim, the next 5 months, 25 games of football. because we're going to win the FA Cup and get Champions League. Who can get that for who can get that for Manchester United now for the rest of this season? Get into the poll, let me know. But first of all, make sure you get your comments in and give me your thoughts on this. I'm going to try and get into as much detail as possible. Manny is in with a super chat. What do people think about Mourinho in the summer? Just saying, definitely not, Manny, in my opinion, mate. Thanks for the super chat, my man. But Jose Mourinho is worn out. That man has lost his aura. He's got carried away with antics and media and his past and his history rather than actually adapting and moving forward. Great managers adapt and move forward. We've seen that with some of the greats. But Mourinho has dropped away because he's living off the past. That's my opinion of Jose. I think he's done. I do. At top level, Jose Mourinho, I think he's done at Manchester United. No, I don't want to take anything away from him, mate. But I love the guy. I think he's a fantastic character and a brilliant manager. But not anymore. I don't think he could handle Manchester United or a big club again. And I don't think anyone will go near him again. I honestly don't. He's already done it all. Been there, done it at every single big club you could think of. So, again, yes, nice thoughts. Bit of a romantic love story or anything. Another manager coming back, but man, if there was one manager I don't think would come back to Manchester, well, he would himself, but if there was one manager I think that would really cause concern coming back to Manchester United, I think it would be Jose on a permanent basis. I feel I'm not even bringing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer into it because I'm looking at that and Carrick as a interim only. But no, just to answer that, mate, I wouldn't do that. Definitely not. Paul says, forget about the lunatics running the asylum. When the stadium goes up, it'll be clowns running the circus. Well, let's just see. I don't even want to think about that right now, Paula, to be honest. I'm more concerned about getting Man United moving now at Old Trafford. I really don't care about the new stadium right now because that counts for nothing unless we're actually competing at a decent level. So, yeah, we'll worry about that later down the line, Paula, definitely. Pet saying Amorim is a top manager, says it all. I don't know what it says, to be honest. I think that's manager code, to be honest. I've never heard one manager, when he's been sacked, be completely put down by any other manager. They put all of their managers on the spot in them press conferences when someone gets sacked. Mourinho is like Amorim. He will want signings. Wake up, guys. Amorim, Outers, and Manu FC. This is what you wanted, says Roy. Get some more comments in. Another super chat in from Steve says, Ollie and Carrick will be joint interim coaches as Amorim took all the coaches with him. Laughing out the door, apparently. It was the story, wasn't it? Let's get some more comments. Keep them coming in, everyone. Adam, what if Ollie comes in, gets United to Europe and wins the FA Cup? Or would you change your mind? Nope. Gone. Thank you. Brilliant job, Ollie. That now should put you in place to go out and get another job elsewhere. I'm not changing my mind. And I will not get carried away. I said it when Ten Hag won the FA Cup. I'm not getting carried away by one trophy coming in or even a Champions League finish. I look at that bounce, and if he gets there, it will be off the fact that he's brought that, I think, feel-good factor back to Manchester United. I'm trying to say this without putting Ollie down here. I love the guy. I do. I love him to bits. But I still remember how I felt at the end. And again, I understand the 5-month, the rest of this season, but definitely don't get carried away by long term. You need a big figure in. And I said this last night, and my view on it was, yeah, Ollie gets Champions League football. Whoa, you can't let him go from that. Yes, you can. Because then these players know that somebody else is coming in to take them to the next level, and they never get a chance to settle. And in the summer, if Ollie's not there, there isn't this call and this clamour to bring in the likes of Marcus Rashford again, who I don't think would come back. But it just shuts down a few things. United need to be seen now to be looking at a long-term plan, and they need to stick to it and not be swayed away. As soon as you do that, if Ollie is given a contract off the back of a good interim period, if of course he gets the job now, then you'll be looking like Ed Woodward again. And all of the powers that be and all of these so-called best in class who are now heavily involved in the recruitment of this next permanent manager, what's the point in them? what is the point in them? Because you got carried up. Look, results are key in every single manager's job. Of course they are. And if Ollie does well, there will be conversations about him staying. But let's not get carried away with ourselves. I would not change my mind. Personally, that's just my opinion. Andy with the Milestone Chat says, manager, puppet or coach, Adam? Head coach, yes, man. I think, and I think that takes us into the next segment actually as well, regarding the transfers and stuff as well. I'm just going to go through the news as it's popping through up on my screen again, as we always do, everybody, just to make sure you are well aware of everything as it drops. The Solskjaer meeting with Carrick and Solskjaer meeting today with Manchester United at Carrington. That is going ahead, full steam ahead. I think we might actually get a decision before the weekend, you know, the way things are going right now. I know there's probably other people that they want to speak to, but I'm thinking for interim, yeah, I do think that if these meetings go well today, I think United could push this forward, and I think it's going to be one of these two. I just can't think of anyone else. I'm sure there's other people involved, but I don't see anyone ahead of Carrick and Solskjaer at the moment. I'll keep reporting on it and I'll keep bringing up the updates, but there's nothing coming out apart from these two at the moment. The story on the permanent manager is an interesting one though, because that is definitely opened up, and Simon Stone this morning was talking Glasner and De Zerbi actually being top of Manchester United's options. I mentioned all of the World Cup managers. There are several of them that you could look at that could potentially be Manchester United manager after the World Cup, all with their contracts ending. The likes of Tuchel, Nagelsmann, Pochettino, all of their managers will finish for the middle of July, just before pre-season starts. That's an option for United. The obvious ones are obviously the Glasner and the De Zerbi and what's been said, and I can see why. Definitely with Glasner being out of contract, that is a conversation which is rolling on and on and on at the moment. And then you've got that story that broke last night, which is the big one. And it sounds great, and it sounds like it is something that really could happen. But the stories around Luis Enrique last night not agreeing to that mega deal at PSG, and reports from his side, or some people over that side of Europe, saying that Enrique wants a new challenge. He might want to go to the Premier League, and he's keeping his options open, which is why he's not signed this deal at PSG. Now, that is going to obviously get people excited. But I go back to what I said before at the top of the show, when David Ornstein coming out and saying United want Prem proven. I am not for 1 minute saying that Enrique could not adapt to the Premier League. He is an elite manager, and somebody who would just kick Manchester United completely into gear. I don't know if the fit is right. Honestly, I don't know if that character and what he would want and what he needs to produce the goods. And let's not forget, Enrique was good at Barcelona with an exceptional side. He's been fantastic and awesome at PSG with an absolutely unbelievable side. And every top manager of the elite level needs an awful lot of money to be spent on him. United are way down on catching up the elite in the Premier League at the moment. And we know this. We're happy to maybe cling on to Champions League or make Europa League this season. That's where we are. For Enrique to work at Manchester United, he would need, you tell me, how much money does he need to spend to get the player of the right intensity level? For one, to play his style of football is difficult. I don't think United would probably have 2 or 3 players that suit the Enrique style in terms of what he expects from them. Aggression, the intensity factor. And again, I don't want to dismiss this. I don't want to play it down. I would love this to happen, of course, but let's be honest with ourselves. It's only going to work if he gets a lot of money spent, and then again, that brings in Ineos, where Manchester United are, what we're competing in, how much money there is to spend. Now, if United are in the Champions League, that might be a different story. You're looking at a minimum £80 million more guaranteed, minimum, just coming in from the Champions League alone for Manchester United financially. And you could add different stages going upwards into the 100 million marks for Manchester United if we do go further. Obviously, there's a lot more that comes with it, with the gate receipts and obviously different sponsorships with the Champions League. Could United spend enough? Have we got enough as it is? I really look. I like the idea. I do. I think it's a little bit far out there, to be honest, for Enrique to come in. A lot of people would say though, like, that's the type of manager Adam that Man United should be going for. That's who United need to be looking at to convince this fan base that we're going forward. If Ineos go and pull an Enrique, then bang, everybody sits up and takes notice and goes, these guys are serious. And that's why I don't see it happening. And look, never say never. If we get Champions League this season, Enrique might be an option because United are back up there competing. Ineos might promise a certain amount of money. But let's not forget, this manager has to fit into what Ineos want to create. And again, can you see Enrique sitting down and agreeing for other people to tell him, and these people that have won nothing in their careers, they're going to tell a Champions League quadruple winning manager, multi-time winning manager, how to play football? I look at it and I go, no disrespect to Wilcox, when Wilcox sitting down with Enrique and trying to tell him how it's going to be. That's what I'm thinking. That's in my head anyway. Look, again, I love the idea. I absolutely do, but it's not reality for me right now for Manchester United. If we were where Arsenal and City are, I think Enrique's a shout. Does he want a different challenge? Does he want to do something different? Does he want to take Manchester United from the depths of despair back up again to competing? I don't know, maybe. I just don't see a manager like that coming to Manchester United under these conditions with Ineos right now. I don't think it's the type of manager that they want. I don't think he would work with Manchester United's hierarchy. Just putting my opinion on that one there. I put money on it being Nagelsmann, Adam, says Ant. Look, I like Nagelsmann. He was one of my top picks previously when we were talking along this conversation. And I think, again, we need a different type of player to play the Nagelsmann type of football. I think he's at a different level to Enrique completely and might be the right fit. Could be. Manny with another super chat says, I like Glasner at 3-4-3, but he does have a good 4-2-3-1. His favourite formation is 4-4-2. He adapts, and I think everybody could feel comfortable with Glasner coming into Manchester United because of that interview that he's done. He's not strict in one formation. He adapts to the players he's got. He's actually said that himself in an interview when he joined Crystal Palace. His favourite formation being 4-4-2. He plays all different formations. So, Manny, you're dead right. He is definitely a manager that will adapt to what we've got. I think he has to be up there as one of the favourites. I think he is one of the outstanding candidates right now for Man United permanently. It fits. Everything fits. Now, Glasner, I was listening to Kevin Hatchard, European football expert, talk about Glasner as well. He does have a saying, he does like a moan, and he does like to obviously have an impact on what happens above him as well in terms of transfers. And this is why he's not signing his new deal at Palace. The fallout from the summer and the lack of backing that he got, and now look where they are. He's just come out and openly said that there could be a chance that he leaves in January, and he's dealing with all of that and the possibility of losing even more players in the summer, like Mateta and Wharton. He's out the door. He's not going to leave. Whether that's different at Manchester United with Glasner, I don't know. I think he would work with what we've got right now. He's Premier League experienced. He's won in the Premier League. So I think he fits the mould. I really do think that because he's taken Palace to them heights, got them to Europe, won the FA Cup, the Community Shield against the best teams in this league last season in City and Liverpool, I think that they will be looking at Glasner. And I think he has to be one of the favourites at the moment. So, yeah, anyone saying Glasner, I'm with you on that. I do think that is a real possibility for Manchester United. I think the conversation has already been had. I don't think he's going to leave Crystal Palace this season. I think he would go in the summer after his contract ends at Palace, and that will be that. Ollie's a smokescreen, comes in, does well. We are happy. Forget the chaos that Barada and Wilcox have caused. 13 years of Glasner chaos. Glazer chaos, is that supposed to say? Or Glasner? Yeah, sorry, Glazer, I think. I don't think it's much of a smokescreen. And like I said, Amorim played his role in the chaos. Why is everyone forgetting about Amorim? He also played a part in this. He is gone now. And let's see how Manchester United approach this. I don't see Solskjaer getting the permanent deal. I've got to make that clear, actually. There's no way that he gets in permanently at Manchester United. It'd be absolutely crazy to even think that was a possibility. I would be scared if they were thinking that anyway. Let's get some more comments in, everybody. If Pep does leave City, maybe he would love a challenge to boost his CV. I doubt that would happen. I think Pep just wants away from the Premier League when he goes. The core of this squad doesn't like hard work. So just like everyone hated Amorim's system, these players will only play for you if you do it the way they want. So just get the guy that brings the vibes. I mean, I get where you're going with that, mate, but I do actually think that Manchester United were, in terms of the graft and the miles that they were putting in, the stats showed that it went up under Amorim. So they were willing to actually work and play for Amorim. Amorim's issue was above. That was it. He wanted more. He wanted more players in. There were certain players he fell out with, obviously, that we well know about now, but I do think that these players are willing, and there's a core of these players now. Let's not forget the ones that have left, the big problem ones that are now out of the football club. We have got decent players in this team right now that have got the right attitudes, like Cunha, Mbeumo, Ahmad, Bruno Mount, Desco, whether you like his quality or not. I think they will work for him. I'm looking at De Ligt, Beast, Monster, Heaven, and Yoro will put the graft in. It's the older players that a lot of people will bring up, like the Luke Shaws, the Casemiros. Make a decision on Bruno in the summer. That sort of conversation needs to happen now. But moving this across to the news as well regarding the transfers and what might happen this transfer window now. Apparently nothing in terms of the outgoings now. Not only is Kobbie Mainoo now definitely going to stay at Manchester United, but the powers that be at Roma have dropped all interest in Joshua Zirkzee because Ruben Amorim has left. The Ruben effect is being shown here in clear sight right now as to what was going on. There were certain players that just weren't going to play for Ruben Amorim. And I think we know who they are. It's Agate, it was Zirkzee, it was Kobbie Mainoo. I'm not saying they wouldn't play for Manchester United. Of course, they'll come on the pitch and they're not as bad as what situations were with the likes of Rashford and Garnacho. But those were the players that were expected to leave Manchester United or would be rumoured to leave Manchester United. Nothing is going to happen with them players this month now. That has all been completely put to bed. So what that does with players coming in, honestly, I know what you're all thinking, and you would be right in thinking it. It doesn't look like much. It doesn't look like much. And that, I think, is probably what we've got to expect now. The fact that Solskjaer, Carrick could be coming in. I think Kieran just said it then in the chat when he said that the vibes man is coming in. This is going to feel like a bit of a vibe sort of end to the season. Feel good factor football again. Bring out the joy, let them express themselves. Let's see some attacking football. Again, I just think that the transfer window now, with what has been said and the news that's coming out, I think is kind of short. I'll be on top of everything. I did not expect to be sat here a week into January and not talking about any transfer news whatsoever. It has been mad busy, but obviously because of the Ruben Amorim situation at Manchester United. So all the transfer news seems to have been put on the back burner. Samuel Lucas was trying to, I think, stir up problems and trouble maybe last night when he was on talking about Kobbie Mainoo has come back to training the day Ruben Amorim has left Manchester United. I'm going to try and end the conversation because I just want Man United to move forward with this. But you can see how people have put two and two together with the Kobbie Mainoo story and him coming back now. Bang, he's back. And look, apparently, behind the scenes though, I will say this, Kobbie Mainoo was supposedly due to come back to training as scheduled on Monday anyway. It wasn't just because Ruben had left that Kobbie's come back, and that's the story that's there as well. So you will see people bringing up that, and I think Samuel Lucas has put it out there in a way that probably stirs up a little bit more trouble than what is necessary, I would say, in this. But it was announced last night that, and this came from Darren Fletcher in the embargoed version of his press conference, that Kobbie Mainoo is back in training, will be assessed today, and could be in the squad tonight for the game against Burnley. So Manchester United tonight will have Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount and Kobbie Mainoo back in the side. Unfortunately for Manchester United as well, Ahmad and Brian Mbeumo are just tearing it up in Africa right now, and both into the quarterfinals. So the hope of any of them two coming back has gone, and we'll have to wait till the Manchester derby. That is quite clear. This weekend, their games, I think it's Friday and Saturday that the quarterfinals are played out, and we'll see how well they do there. But it does look like it is going to be the Manchester derby before we get Mbeumo and Ahmad back in the side. We'll get one of Mbeumo or Nus Mazraoui back 100% definitely for the Manchester derby, because they play each other in the next rounds. But for tonight and what we've got, Harry Maguire isn't far away, and Mason Mount, Kobbie Mainoo and Bruno Fernandes are all expected to feature in Manchester United's squad at Turf Moor tonight. So honestly, that alone just gives me so much more belief that we've actually got some first team players back, and we're not having to throw academy players in with all of this chaos going on around the football club. Really not fair on them. And I do think that it's important now that these players, and I said this last night, I tweeted it out last night, these players actually now knuckle down, understand the situation, the pressure, and all eyes is on them. You can forget the dugout and Darren Fletcher. Forget about Fletcher, forget about Johnny Evans being in there, Travis Binion. That's not even a story right now. No one cares. All the focus for a change is not going to be on the dugout. It might be because it's Fletcher's first time as a manager, but in terms of the scrutiny and the pressure, all on these players now. They need to show up tonight. They need to show that they belong here, and they need to give something back to these fans and this Manchester United, and to Manchester United in general. I think that is where everyone is going to be. I think that's what everyone's going to be looking at. I think more now. The drama is gone, and it's all about the football again. So have they got it in them? I think having Bruno and Mainoo back is definitely key for Manchester United. And I think in terms of the transfers that we just spoke about there then as well, I think it's very important that Manchester United now look at what squad we've got and move probably towards the summer transfer window. There was rumours yesterday that Manchester United actually would be looking to, if they needed to, actually put into, they would put into the transfer window from the revolving credit facility if needs must in this transfer window. That I think is something that has been discussed, but I just don't see it. I really don't. Unless a great opportunity comes around. Man United are going to be playing a different formation now. Fletcher was quizzed on his formation, by the way, and he's not going to disclose any of that, he said. That was his answer to it. He talked about the 4-3-3 that he plays in the academy as a development formation for players at that age. That's a club formation that they will always use to develop players. It's not so much about results. They want to win every game in the academy, but their ultimate goal is to develop players individually. And 4-3-3 is the chosen formation for the football club at academy level. That's a decision that's made by the club, not Darren Fletcher. He cleared that up last night, and just because he plays it at the academy doesn't mean he's going to go and play it tonight. I actually do think you'll see some form of a 4-2-3-1. Right, let's get into some more of your comments. Let's have a quick look. I mean, I did talk about the Miguel Delaney story earlier on. I said I was going to bring that up. Now, check this out. This is going to concern United fans as well. This is Ineos's management deciding on the next manager. This is their approach to the recruitment of a new head coach. One coach interviewed in 2024 got frustrated as he found there were 4 different stages of the process, each involving more officials, all being cast as decision makers, in quote marks. The candidates had never experienced anything like it. The interview questions were meanwhile described as formalic. When it came to meeting the actual decision maker, Jim Radcliffe, and when it looked like an offer might come, it is claimed that was destroyed. Oh, sorry, it was delayed. Destroyed. That was. You tell what's on my mind. That's claimed that was delayed for 3 days because the billionaire was off cycling. Some of this might have been exaggerated for comic effect, but the point stands. Again, going back to Sir Jim Radcliffe not knowing a lot about football, from what Sully said the other day, and the concerns within Manchester United is that he's heavily relied on the likes of Barada and Jason Wilcox. How is he going to make a decision when this candidate has been through so many different stages? It seems a bit complicated, overly complicated, doesn't it? And that's the concern that I've got. Like, if that's the process again, then we're probably going to end up scaring a few off. And look, we all know now that Thomas Tuchel turned Manchester United down. So was this the process that really put the likes of Thomas Tuchel off, or other managers? Could it have been Tuchel that Miguel Delaney's talking about here? It's interesting to know how it actually works and what happens and whether they change that now. Are they going to learn from what they've done before and the mistakes that they've made? Every single Man United fan right now is holding their breath, aren't they, with this next appointment and what comes in the summer. Look, I don't want to just ignore what's happening in the now, but the summer decision is massive for Manchester United going forward. I think Ollie will do all right. I think Carrick will do all right. I do. I think we'll get some form of bounce back. And I think that will come down to, like I said before, because of the players. Because of them players. Quickly as well, just on the games I just mentioned there, in terms of Burnley tonight, but the FA Cup game against Brighton at weekend, JJ Gabriel was back in Man United's first team training yesterday. And Fletcher also confirming this. Manchester United are open to adding JJ Gabriel to the matchday squad for Brighton. Now, we've talked about JJ Gabriel before and why United might be doing this, but there is talk going around that JJ could actually feature at weekend. It's not a definite, it's no guarantee by any stretch, but there is a chance that he would feature in the FA Cup. He's allowed to play in the FA Cup, but not allowed to play in the Premier League. He didn't turn 15 in time in terms of the deadline that players need to be registered with the Premier League. So he cannot feature this season for Manchester United. He can only play in the FA Cup, and they might take the opportunity. Completely off topic there as well, but that was mentioned yesterday as well. He also said, Darren Fletcher, that both his sons featured in first team training also, but he wouldn't be drawn into any sort of comical or that sort of debate around his son starting. I think they were trying to make light of it. I think in the journalist in the media in that press conference, but Fletcher wasn't having any of it. He wasn't up for disclosing anything, and I think that's where the situation will stay. I don't think we'll see the Fletcher brothers again this season. Personally, I don't think we will. Anyway, that's where we're at. Keep your comments coming in, everybody. Graham has dropped one in on a super chat. Thank you, Graham, mates. Adam, are we all agreed that Samuel Luckhurst is a destabilising influence? He didn't need to put that tweet out last night. He could have put that out in so many different ways. He was very clear with his angle, I thought, Graham, and I thought that was deliberate. I'm going to agree. I think he was causing problems, yeah. And the stuff that's come out recently has definitely been on the line of really trying to disrupt. So I would say yes on that one. In answering that question, Graham, I think definitely Samuel Luckhurst's angle on everything recently, not just this one, has been digging, I think. And I think Kobbie Mainoo was an easy one. Do I believe that Kobbie Mainoo has just come back because he was scheduled to come back from injury? I honestly don't know anymore. And at this point, I'm just going to have to say, with everything else that's going on, should we be even looking into it? Like, we have our concerns. The only way Kobbie Mainoo is going to convince me, and I've said this all along because I don't think he's done enough yet. The only way he's going to convince me, if he does get a chance, and there's no guarantee of that either yet, if Kobbie comes back in, play. Knuckle down and show us that you want to be a Manchester United player. and forget about all of the crap that's been going on behind the scenes. It's his fault. It's unfair. All of the treatments. I should have played more. I've not been given a chance. Well, you're going to get a chance now. I'm pretty certain you're going to get a chance now, especially if Ollie comes in. I'm not just saying that Ollie's going to just like soften up to the academy players and because he's a Man United player. I don't think so. I think Ollie's learnt his lesson. If he comes back, then I don't think Mainoo's just going to walk back in because it's Ollie. I think he's going to have to fight for his way back. I think he's going to have to fight, try and get his self back in the side. If he's on the bench tonight, I think Mainoo will feature. I don't think Mainoo will start. I really don't. I think he's been out for, what, nearly 3 weeks now, I think it's been. I think it will be, I personally think it will be a 4-2-3-1. I think it will be Mount, Cunha, Sesko, and then Bruno sat in front of two holding midfielders of Casemiro and Agate. A back four of Dalot, Shaw, Heaven, Leacher, or Yoro, whichever the centre-backs. I think that's what it'll be tonight. And I do think that United will, I think we'll look better on the eye. I think the players will look a lot more comfortable tonight than what they have done. Wilcox admitting interfering in the biggest is the biggest worry. Look, too many chefs in the kitchen, and you could say. And that article from Miguel Delaney, I think, personally, I think Miguel Delaney there has really opened a few people's eyes up with that one. And you have to look at it and go, well, if someone has come out and exposed this story and talked about it openly, then it's a genuine story. I could actually see it happening. But look, what you've got to remember with this is that all of these journalists are out for their own pound of flesh. And while United, and said this yesterday, well, United are in this phase now where no one's going to get hurt by anything that's been said or anything that's going to be said because everything's up in the air and there's loads of mistakes. Like, all the journalists right now are feeding on Manchester United. So they're going to bring up every single story that they possibly can. They will all do it. So this is why I said you're going to get loads of news coming out. All anyone is talking about is Man United. I mean, they've been plastered all over Sky Sports News for 2 days straight. All the yellow bar has been at the bottom of the screen is Man United. And every single journalist will have dug up them stories. I've seen it from Mark Ogden. I've seen it from Delaney. Henry Winter's done his piece. Obviously, you're getting Laurie Whitwell. You're getting Samuel Lucas, like we said, James Ducker, Chris Wheeler, Nate Salt. I've seen them all bringing up stories that have happened with things at Manchester United in the past. They're all just looking for that. I'm not saying it's all just like clickbait stuff, and it's their job to do this. But all I'm saying is that they've got the freedom now to go for it. So this is where you're going to get all of the intriguing stories, I think, coming out now. And I think it's all fallen into their lap. It has. And you're going to get more and more of this coming up. As soon as Manchester United appoints a interim, I think it all starts to calm down. And there's not much more there for him to talk about apart from the football. So get your pound of flesh now, dig in now. Well, everything is there and you can go to town on it. And then it will calm as soon as Man United start playing again with an interim. And I think it's going to be once we announce the permanent interim, not just, well, Fletcher's in charge. I think if Fletcher's in charge now for this next week, I think you're still going to get all of these stories surfacing as well. All right, let's get some more opinions on this. If Fletcher does well, maybe give him a chance as he will work well with Ineos, knows the club well and has worked multiple jobs. Also bring in Rude as a coaching staff to help Sesko. Well, on this, actually, Van Nistelrooy is out, by the way. That's another story that came out last night amongst all of the news that was circulating. Van Nistelrooy out, apparently. Not in the running. So that's another thing that we need to look at. In terms of strikers helping out Sesko, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, fantastic clinical striker, will definitely help the likes of Benjamin Sesko if he's employed. I think that's something else that will benefit United with him. And again, I do think that the players would warm to Ole. I do think the new players would warm to Ole as well. And obviously, you've got players there that have seen Ole out. I made the joke last night about Luke Shaw. My God, he's been here that long. He's actually seen the manager out, and then the manager's come back, and he's still here. That's the best one of the lot, I think, Luke Shaw. He's got his mate Ollie back again. God. Madness in it, but only at Manchester United. Jay says, what a disgrace this club has become. The sad thing is that some fans think this is a good thing. This is the end of United. RIP. United will never die, mate. I'm not just bringing it up because of the song, but you know it won't. It's too big. There's always going to be turmoil at other clubs. And while we are still trying to find our feet and establish ourselves with a proper structure, which is going to take a few years, there is going to be all of this crap going on, unfortunately. If they don't learn from the mistakes, then United are in trouble. But I think United in the end will start to settle. They have to settle. And I think it all comes now from this next decision. This is it. This is the big one. And there's nowhere for Ineos to hide after this next call. The permanent manager, I mean, anyway, coming in. If Wilcox were to obey what Amarim wanted, we would probably be spending 400 million. Ollie Watkins, 150 million. Martinez, 150. Who knows? Not that much, but we probably would have spent a lot more on them players. We definitely would have had Emi in between the sticks anyway. I know that for certain. Maguire, Bruno, Delot and Shaw were all here. Should all be looked at the same way. Yep. Failures. Really, when you look at the time that they've been at the football club, what have they achieved? It's not enough, is it? And I still can't believe, Ollie seems so long ago, but these players are still here now. Shows you, doesn't it? Fletcher looked calm and composed in the press-up, not emotional like Amarim or nor overly excited like Olef. I'm loving his character already. I said yesterday, the one good thing about Darren Fletcher, he's a fantastic communicator, absolutely brilliant, and I think that is what's going to hold him in good stead. I feel just a bit of simple communication goes a long way, I think, and I think Darren Fletcher definitely has that, and you could tell by the way he was talking. He was very clear. He was very open about things that were going on at the academy side of things and what he did in his conversation, speaking to Sir Alex Ferguson. That was obviously something that he was very open to talking about. I think James Ducker of The Telegraph asked that question in the press conference, and he was really open about it. It was good. It was good. It was a really good listening to Darren Fletcher. I enjoyed what he was saying. I enjoyed the way that he came across. I enjoyed the way that he explained the academy setup with the formation as well. I think that was important for us to understand the formation side of things, because it's not just a given that he's going to go in with that 4-3-3. I think that's important for us as well. And you got a little bit of insight into how the club run with the way that Darren Fletcher was explaining things there. And I think it's good that we actually have got now a manager in that I think anyway is going to be, well, for the short spell of time, going to be able to communicate properly with these players. I don't think there's going to be any mismessaging. I don't think there's going to be anything like that. I actually do think that we have actually got now the right man in for this period. I think it's going to be an interesting couple of games. I really do. I'm confident we can get the wins. I think he'll get the most out of the players, and I do think that we are in for a bit of an exciting end of this week. I'm looking forward to it. I hope it works out for him anyway. I do. And he won't be getting any pressure from me. He won't be getting any criticism from me at all. I'm just intrigued to see how he does now. By the way, everybody, competition again for the Burnley game tonight. We are doing a watch along, and our prediction league is open, everybody. Please do get in and give me your thoughts on this. We are looking at another big leaderboard tonight. All of the options are there. The link is pinned in the live chat, everybody. So get in there and give me your predictions. Let me know. Let me know if you have done already. Let me know if you have actually already put yours in. The leaderboard is getting bigger and bigger. All you have to do, of course, is put in your options there. There are 6 options available to you again. I'll just bring up the I'll bring up the link now. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to get a hold of it now and pop it up on the screen. I don't know why I didn't have this ready before. Sorry about this, everyone. Let's just see if our options are there now. Right, okay, there they are, finally. Sorry about that, everyone. Right, so our options for tonight's game, everybody. Get it in there. You can put your small wager on it if you want to give yourself a chance of winning. We are going to be doing another giveaway of the Manchester United shirts, training tops, retro kits, up-to-date shirts. That is going to be 6 more of the subscribers here on FUTV winning tomorrow. So your options for this game tonight, if you want to get in on the leaderboard now, you've got up until kickoff. So more on this later on. Benjamin Sesko will get a goal or assist. Cunha will score. Yes or no's on all of these. Joshua Zirkzee will get a goal or an assist. Yes or no. United will be leading at half-time. There will be over 3 cards in the game. And there will be under 3 goals. All you have to do is say yes or no to them options. It's kind of like a sweepstake format. But if you just enter the league for as little as possible or play for free, that option is there as well. You will be entered into my prize draw, courtesy of our matchday sponsor, OK Jerseys as well, everybody. So get in on that now while you can, everyone. The link is there, pinned in the live chat. Let's get a few more comments in quickly before we finish up. Ollie failed, question mark. Did you remember what he was up against? A prime City, Liverpool and Chelsea. He got us 2nd and 3rd best since Sir Alex Ferguson. You could argue that point. You could. It didn't end well, but it started very well. I think that's what United are probably hoping for again. His interim record was absolutely outstanding, by the way. I think he got 14 wins in 19. It was crazy. 3 defeats and 2 draws as well. Amazing interim record. And funnily enough, that's how many games we've got. He's going to have in charge possibly in this next 5 months. That's if, of course, Ollie is in charge. And we will see on that. And I will be all over the news as it drops, everybody, as well. So please do get your comments in below. They'll finish up the live stream now. The poll has finished. We left it all the way through, 1,500 votes. Who would you prefer, Michael Carrick or Gunnar Solskjaer? Actually, I don't know why we're talking so much about Solskjaer, because you lot actually think that it should be Michael Carrick, according to the poll. Anyway, we'll wrap things up there. Thank you, everybody. Going to be a really interesting day, and obviously we've got the watch-along later. I will be back live before that, though, as well, with all of your updates, and I'll look ahead to the game properly. So, yeah, here we go. Darren Fletcher's first match day in charge of Manchester United. Let's see what comes later. Get your comments in, get your likes on the video, please. Hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all of this Manchester United news right now here on Forever United TV. I will see you all later on. Have a good morning. Enjoy whatever you're up to. And up the Reds. Is it going to be Ollie or Carrick? Comment now.